And it's way down. She deserted us. She deserted me.
Something unusual happened during what was supposed to be a routine diplomatic moment. Cameras were rolling as Donald Trump met with Viktor Orban, and on paper this looked completely standard. A few remarks, a few smiles, some handshakes, and then a couple of press questions before everyone moves on. But sometimes one question changes the entire tone of the room, and on this day the topic that kept coming up was affordability. Not stock market records, not political slogans, but groceries, gas, rent, utilities, the everyday costs people actually feel. Trump stepped to the microphones with a confident message. Prices were down, energy was cheaper, inflation was falling, and the American economy was supposedly stronger than ever. But one reporter did something that disrupted that story. Instead of moving on to another topic, she pressed on the gap between the economy being described and the one many Americans say they are actually living every single day. That simple challenge set the stage for everything that followed.
Under Biden, it was 4.5. It even hit 5, but it was $4, $3.50. We're going to be at $2 a gallon. So gasoline's much less. Energy costs are less. When you have energy and when you have gasoline less, everything else follows. It's such a big category. So when you have lower energy prices, which I think you admit we do substantially, that means everything else. So we are the victors on affordability. But if I watched that election, which I was not much involved in, I didn't support Virginia, the candidate, didn't do a lot of support for the other candidates. They asked me about Cuomo, and I said, well, it's a question, do you want a thug or do you want a communist? I mean, that was my response. So I wasn't involved in that stuff too much. But I will say this, if you look at affordability, which they campaigned on, they lied because they talked about, oh, prices are up. No, prices are down under the Trump administration, and they're down substantially. Energy prices are down by 30, 35, 40%. Gasoline is way down. And the other big thing is inflation is way down. The biggest thing is inflation. The second biggest thing is energy. Energy is way down. And what's also down? Gasoline. Also, the biggest thing is inflation. And it's way down. She deserted us. She deserted me. Our great Caroline superstar deserted me. Anyway, she's right outside. She was going to talk about, because the fake news yesterday, they talked about that. They said, oh, I don't want to talk about affordability. The reason I don't want to talk about affordability is because everybody knows that it's far less expensive under Trump than it was under Sleepy Joe Biden.
Here she is, sir.
And the prices are way down. Caroline?
Yes, sir.
Could you discuss that question that was asked and how it was asked in such a fake, disgusting manner by the fake news?
Yeah, and I just saw it asked again here, and it's very unfortunate that the reporters in this room refused to address, sir, what you just said, which is that you inherited the worst inflation crisis in modern American history, and you are fixing it in 10 short months, and your entire administration has been tasked with this effort, from Treasury Department to Agriculture Department to the National Economic Council right here at the White House. They are slashing regulation. He signed the largest middle-class tax cut in 6 months. In 6 months, in record time, putting more money back into the American people's pockets. So affordability is what the American people elected this president to do, and he is doing it, and you guys refuse to cover it, and you refuse to cover that the previous administration created the worst unaffordability crisis in American history. And I've been watching the TV all day saying that he doesn't want to talk about affordability. That's what he's working on every day, and that's what
I'm talking about right
doing.
now. But you know why they refuse to cover it?
Can I get
Because
her
they're
for
fake
someone?
news. That's why. Go
Can I
ahead.
get her someone?
Sure. Caroline, the Prime Minister would like you to work for him in Hungary.
Please consider it. Please consider
You know
it.
what? That's a very good decision you just made. Please don't leave us, Caroline.
And right away you can see the strategy begin to unfold. The response comes quickly, confidently, and filled with very large claims, massive investment numbers, job growth, global comparisons. The message being projected is simple. America is booming, and the administration deserves the credit. This is a classic political communication technique. When everyday concerns like grocery prices enter the conversation, leaders often pivot toward big macroeconomic numbers because those numbers create the image of strength and momentum. But the tension in the room was still there because reporters kept circling back to perception. Not just what the numbers say, but why so many people still say they feel financial pressure. And that question leads directly into the next moment.
And the way many Americans say feeling and they're concerned about
Well, they feel better about our country right now, other than the shutdown, obviously, which is caused by the Democrats, could be ended by the Democrats in 2 minutes. They feel much better. We have more jobs. We just set a record on jobs. You do know that. We have more investment in our country than any country in history. We're over $18 trillion as of this moment, and we're going to be maybe at 20 or 21 trillion by the time I finish up my first year. And there's been no country, China, no country in the world that's done anywhere even close to that number. Your friend Biden, as an example, in 4 years was less than $1 trillion. We'll be at 21 trillion in 1 year. So there's no country that was even close to that. And our country was a laughing stock all over the world. We have more jobs. We have more potential than any other country. And frankly, we're the hottest country right now. Victor said to me before, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Think of it. We'll have $21 trillion invested. We have auto plants pouring back in. We have AI pouring back in. We're leading China in AI by a lot. We're leading everybody in every category. There's no category that we're in second place. So I just heard this yesterday that Walmart said that the Thanksgiving was 25% more expensive under Biden. That's a big, to me, that's a big number because Walmart's respected. I mean, Walmart is Walmart and, they're giving you prices. So that would mean that the whole series of pricing and costs, the groceries and everything else, it was a con job. It was a con job. Affordability, they call it, was a con job by the Democrats. The Democrats are good at a few things, cheating on elections and conning people with facts that aren't true. It was 25%. Walmart just announced it 2 days ago, 25% cheaper this year.
Now, this is where the exchange becomes politically fascinating, because the conversation shifts from simple answers into narrative control. When the question about the disconnect between economic messaging and everyday experience appears, the response expands dramatically. Suddenly the focus becomes record investments, trillions of dollars, historic growth, and the claim that the United States is outperforming every other country in the world. This is a powerful, rhetorical move. Large numbers create the feeling of scale. They make the situation sound enormous, historic, unstoppable. And another technique appears at the same time: repetition. The same claims return again and again. Inflation is down, energy prices are lower, the country is booming. Repetition works because familiarity creates persuasion. The more often people hear the same statement delivered confidently, the more it begins to feel established. But the reporter's question changes the frame of the conversation in a different way, because it focuses on perception. Political leaders describe the economy through statistics, growth rates, investment numbers, employment figures. But voters experience the economy through daily life, the grocery store, the gas pump, the electricity bill, the rent payment at the end of the month. When those two perspectives match, economic messaging becomes powerful and easy to believe. But when they don't match, moments like this become flashpoints. You can also see another strategy appear during the exchange, shifting the focus toward media credibility. Instead of debating the exact numbers, the conversation moves toward questioning the reporters themselves, their motives, their coverage, their reliability. And once that happens, the argument stops being about statistics and becomes about trust. For supporters who already distrust certain media outlets, that confrontation reinforces their belief that the press is biased, while critics see the exact same moment as an attempt to avoid the underlying issue. The same clip, two completely different interpretations. Another interesting dynamic appears when allies step in to reinforce the message. Talking points become more structured, the narrative becomes clearer: tax cuts, deregulation, inherited problems from the previous administration led by Joe Biden, all of it forms a broader explanation for the current situation. That strategy moves the conversation away from one specific statistic and places it inside a larger political story about economic recovery. But beneath all of these communication techniques lies the deeper challenge of economic politics. People live their economy. They don't experience it through press conferences. They feel it when they buy food, when they pay for car repairs, when they open their monthly utility bill. If those experiences feel expensive, no amount of big national statistics easily overrides that feeling. That is why moments like this travel so quickly online. A short exchange between a reporter and a president suddenly becomes a national conversation. Supporters see strength and confidence. Critics see deflection and exaggeration. And everyone else is left comparing what they hear from politicians with what they see in their own daily lives. There is also a performance element to these press exchanges. They are not only about answering questions, they are about projecting control. Humour appears, sarcasm appears, criticism of the press appears. All of it works to reclaim the energy of the room when the conversation becomes uncomfortable. For supporters, that confrontation can feel energizing. It shows a leader pushing back and defending their message aggressively. For opponents, it may look like avoidance. But politically, the real audience is not the reporter asking the question. The real audience is the millions of viewers who will watch the clip later. Because in modern politics, the battle is rarely about one number or one policy detail. It is about the larger story people believe about the country. Is the economy improving, or are people still struggling with rising costs? Is the message being delivered honest, or is it political branding? Moments like this do not settle that debate, but they shape how the public conversation unfolds. And that brings us to the question I want to ask you. After watching these exchanges, do you think the economic message being presented actually reflects what people are feeling right now? Or do you think the reporter's question exposed a deeper disconnect between political messaging and everyday reality? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns of major political moments like this one, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next analysis.